Prologue. No matter how hard Clare Rosser tried to escape the house of her birth in the sleepy forest town of Holden, Massachusetts, life kicked her in the guts by drawing her back. It had only been 18 months. Freedom had been hers at last. Clare, with all her determination and drive, had sworn that she would get out of Dodge. Yet here she was, in her sophomore year, being dragged home in order to mitigate another disaster. She just could not escape. The trouble was she had no idea exactly what she was returning to this time round. Only hours before, Clare had been watching an old John Wayne flick with her friends and boyfriend. One phone call later, she had hurtled down Route 90 from her rented house in Brookline, Boston, to deal with the latest drama. Was Mum ill? Had Dad drunk himself senseless again? Nobody would say. Clare gazed at her blue-eyed reflection in the rearview mirror of her Mini Cooper, a car given to her by her parents as a Sweet 16 present, and 4 years later the only item from them she treasured. Dad had imported the shell and restored the car to perfect working order, painted it red with twin white stripes on the hood, and delivered it to her with a bank of blinding headlights attached to the front and a full tank of diesel. Never mind that it was a petrol engine and had to be fully drained and cleaned before she could take it out. One of many mistakes her dad had made with the best intentions, like the time he had chased off a would-be boyfriend who just wanted to play her a song with his guitar. He wanted his daughter homebound. It only drove her further away. Her cell began to ring from its place on the passenger seat. Clare picked the phone up, wedging it between shoulder and ear. "Hello? Clare? Clare Rosser, is that you?" "Yes, this is Clare." "Hello, dear. It's Dr. Julian Strange. I am your family—" "Yes, I know perfectly well who you are, Julian. What's going on?" Julian Strange had been the Rosser family physician for as long as Clare could remember. He had dealt with the fallout of her parents' bouts of alcoholism with good grace, patient and informative. He was professional to the core when Clare had needed a father figure, sometimes impersonal, like he didn't want to get too close. "Are you on your way?" Clare glanced out of the window. In the growing dusk, the woodland of southernmost Holden thrust up like a series of fingers clawing out of the hillside ahead. The police roadblock, comprised of 3 cars parked at random angles on the near side of the railway crossing, lay between her and her house beyond. "I'm nearby, Julian. What's going on?" There was a pause. Just get here as soon as you can, Clare." "What do you mean, get here as soon as you can?" Clare shouted down the phone in response. "Why can't you just tell me what's going on?" There was no reply. Clare glared at the screen. The call had been disconnected. This left her even more frustrated. Resisting the urge to scream and throw her phone, Clare set it down on the black vinyl of the passenger seat and concentrated on the roadblock. It would do no good for her to end up another footnote in the Rosser family casualty dossier. She gripped the steering wheel so hard the moulded plastic creaked and turned the car around. There was another way in. Holden's outskirts flashed by in a blur of buildings and streetlights, the traffic for once accommodating Clare as she traversed the town. By the time she turned into the far end of Pleasant Street, the sky was almost completely black, only the slightest impression of darkest blue giving hint that beyond the hills of central Massachusetts it was not yet fully night. The bank of headlights on her Mini Cooper made Clare feel as though she was burrowing through a tunnel of light into the forest leaning over the highway. So intent was she on getting to her parents' house that she jumped with a small yelp when her phone rang once more, the Star Trek theme blaring loud. Her brother's name was on the screen. A deer jumped out of the forest. Clare slammed on her brakes. In an instant it leapt away, another ghost in the dark, a memory to be retained on this bizarre night.